ever doing, okay, preparing to stream. Oh my gosh, this is going like duk, 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 duk. Preparing to leave, setting up your meeting for
Hopefully
Facebook
Kyla
Live,
doesn't come in.
redirecting to Facebook Live, and we are live. Wait a minute. So can you, I don't know what everyone is seeing, but right now I just see, I wonder if I can just play it. Okay, here we go. So we just did a major pivot as we do in life, my Facebook Live for the 82nd time. You would think that this would have just like flowed effortlessly, but isn't that the way that the healing journey is? I welcome Deslynn Jaquias as she shares why her healing summit came to be and her healing journey and why everyone should appear or participate in this Saturday's Healing Summit, 10 a.m. Hawaii time. Share who's going to be on and why you decided to do this.
Okay. Well, aloha, guys. I'm Deslynn Jaquias. I'm from the island of Kauai, one of the oldest Hawaiian islands. I have a podcast. It's called Healing with Aloha. The inspiration behind the podcast is my sister passed away 20 years ago. Unfortunately, unexpectedly when she was 23. And after my sister had passed away, I got diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I began therapy for trauma. So I went in for her grief, but then I was able to process a lot of pain of trauma that had occurred prior to my sister's passing. And what I realized was that I needed to heal. And so I began my grief journey, but the grief journey became a healing journey. And it was a very difficult journey. After my sister died, I had become pregnant. And then that's when I started therapy on Oahu because I still live on Oahu. And shortly after my son came, we moved away from Hawaii and we moved to Japan. And so while I was in Japan, my marriage was already having difficulty. And we ended up getting separated when my son was 2.5 years old. And then we got divorced. And then that's what brought me to Kauai. The year that I came home, my grandmother passed away unexpectedly from the Big Island. That was like on top of the fact that I was in the process of getting divorced. And then shortly after, my dad died unexpectedly also in 2012. And then the next year, my grandfather died of cancer. And so I personally felt so much pain that I was like, this is too much. Like, it was just too much. And, you know, between anxiety, having bouts of depression, I went through some really, really dark times. And what I felt was when I hit the 17-year mark with my little sister, I said, you know, if I feel alone and if I feel the way I do, I'm sure someone does too. And so then that's when I came up with my other brand, Healing with Aloha. And then that's when I launched the podcast. Initially, it was supposed to just be me doing like 5-10 minute episodes. Last year we got into the pandemic, the COVID, and we're all isolated at home. I was like, you know what? Everybody has a story to share. And maybe if I open up my podcast, then other people can share and then we can help other people together and to bring healing. And so the podcast is about bringing hope and healing with Aloha globally. And through the podcast platform, I've hit 42 countries. And I've had, last year I hit 30 episodes. This year, I stopped counting, but it's over 20 interviews. And so I'm really excited. I was Karen's special guest for her parenting summit back in September. Gosh, time flew by already. And I just felt like it was such a great experience to be amongst other people who have the same desire to empower and help people. And so I said, oh, Karen, I want to do one too. And so that's why I decided to do the Healing Summit, because the 6 women that are special speakers, they've all learned their own strategy and how they deal with their own difficult times and to heal. And I just really respect them and I'm inspired by them. And I felt that having people from different parts of the world would be amazing. And so the lineup is Karen, of course.
Thank you so much.
So
Followed
Karen,
by share a little bit about each speaker.
yeah. So Karen's gonna be opening up the summit. No pressure, Karen.
No pressure. And I was shocked. I'm like, I'm sure I'm like number 2 or number 3. Oh, thanks for letting me know. It'll be exciting though.
And so the reason why I wanted Karen to open up is, one, you know, she's experienced, and you know, she's gone through so much, and she's learned to navigate her way in healing and processing pain. Her vulnerability with being a survivor of attempting to end her life early on, then becoming a mother, and then the realness she shares about being a parent, and the struggle of anxiety and depression. Of you want your children with you, but you want them to prosper, but then you're like this tug and pull. And she's my parent coach, and because of my own anxiety, I felt like sorry, I'm getting emotional, because of my own anxiety of like not trusting myself. You know, you feel like, oh gosh, like I gotta make sure he's okay. But when my son was like, he already did online schooling, and then he went back to school, and then he was at home, and I don't know, because I'm home a lot, but I was like, are you doing your homework? Are you paying attention? You know, and I was being a little too excessive. And so Karen was helping me to understand the art of letting go. They call it like the helicopter parent.
Yeah,
like
you are a recovering helicopter parent.
Yes, I'm a
along with many
recovering
others.
helicopter. Yes. So I don't do that whole swooping in on him. And so she taught me to be confident that, you know, he's capable and that he can handle the natural consequences. And I don't know if I told you. So my son just got his grades for first quarter, and he got all A's.
Oh my gosh.
And he's never had that before. He's in high school now, he's 14, and he was so excited, and he's already thinking about, he possibly wants to go to a medical school to be a doctor. I'm like, oh my gosh.
But isn't it interesting when we let go though? I have other parents
and
who
that's
let
not
go.
my influence at all.
Well, when you let go though, you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to prepare myself for these F's. I'm going to prepare myself for everything. And then they shock you and you realize you are not that powerful to, and you know, because I thought they need me. I'm an educator. And then when I was involved, that's when the D's and F's kicked in, right? And then once I removed myself, and then you realize, you know what, you're going to have your D's, your F's and A's, and do grades really matter? And that's my whole mission now, because kids these days are so stressed out. And why are they stressed? Because society, parents, we all praise the A's and we get so excited about
That's
the
true.
A's. But lately I've been telling Chelsea, hey, celebrate this F, celebrate this, the hearing, and celebrate, because yesterday she said, can I choose a restaurant, right? And I said, well, we went out to celebrate Sabrina's new job. And she said, so does that mean I have nothing to celebrate?
Oh.
And I thought, no, you know what? We are going to celebrate you. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I've never done this before, but hey, a reason to go out. Got to take pictures for Auntie Des, with a thing. And then, of course, my daughter has to add like the dessert and add like all this stuff.
Of course.
And then I thought, we need to do this. We need to celebrate, just because otherwise we're training our kids. The only time to celebrate and reap rewards is only when you deserve it. High grades, a new job, something that you earned. And
Yes.
that's what I think your journey is. You do not need to earn it, but we're ingrained.
Yeah.
We're ingrained. And if we're ingrained, then once the A's stop, then what is it's going to be the promotion or getting a house or the stakes get just higher and higher. And then you realize that means when you lose the job, right, which is what happened in our family, you feel like a failure. And that means it's external circumstances that define your worth.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us, so who are the other people
so
who I'm privileged to be with?
Yeah, so we can both share about her. It's Sarah Clifford. Sarah's from New York.
Sarah.
She's a book author. Actually, she produced the song when she was a child. but she does book illustration, children's book. I have faith she's gonna do another one next year. But I brought her on because she does talk a lot about mental health. She does talk about her journey through depression. She's gonna actually share like a memoir about her experience, because I don't know, like it's hard for people to admit that they have a mental illness. It's hard to admit that you're having a difficult time because a lot of times we weren't trained how to be a support to one another in our families, at our workplace, at school. And so when someone admits that they're having a difficult time, instead of us lean in to help, we tend to back off. And then that person feels more isolated than they should. You know what I mean? And so I've been on her podcast. She has her own podcast. I have my own podcast. And we talk about mental health. We advocate for it because a lot of it is, we weren't taught how to, one, be open about our mental health, to seek help, and then to teach people how to help us. And so that's why I'm having her come on, because she just loves talking about it. It's not an easy topic to talk about, but it's real. And
well, it's uncomfortable. And don't you think some of us may not be aware that we are suffering from mental illness? We think that it might be, we're going through a rough time, but sometimes just not knowing the tools to use. And it can be as simple as, leaning towards a friend or finding
or meditation, like how you
meditation, which is what
or
I'll be doing.
music. Or just,
it could be something
finding
simple.
strategies. And so
right.
The whole premises of the Healing Summit, guys, is so that people can learn potential strategies to navigate how to heal. Because good times come and difficult times come. That's just part of life. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what ethnicity, what race, what like wherever you're at in society, we're gonna go through hard times. And I like to use humor because I gotta laugh, because there's certain things, like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the phrase, it is what it is. There are just some people and some things and some situations, it is what it is. You just can't, you can only control your attitude and how you perceive things. And you can set boundaries and step away from relationships that aren't healthy for you. And so that's why I wanted to do the summit, because we weren't taught these tools, our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors. And so when we become aware, then we can empower ourselves to heal. We don't have to stay stuck in this, like, this inner child work, that whatever was told to us the first 7 years or first 10 years, that we don't have to be defined by that. Or if we just came out of a relationship that was very hurtful and painful, we don't have to let that define us. And so the 6 women, they're showing different aspects of strategies you guys can use to heal. Did you want to share anything about Sarah that they might be interested in knowing about her?
Well, I was just so pleased that you introduced me to her. In fact, I'm going to be on her, I guess she's going to go Instagram live on Friday. But I think what she's taught me is, despite, sometimes I feel like I neglected my children during those tough times, then you feel like you're inadequate, you feel that you failed, but our children are so resilient. And what we've taught them is how to be resilient when a mom is emotionally unavailable, and not to be ashamed of it. I think that's what she taught me most, is not to be ashamed of it. We can't redo the past, but I've apologized even in the past year. And then they end up sharing things that I totally forgot about that may have damaged their self-esteem. But I'm learning that is never too late. Never too late to heal the past. It brings you closer to your children and loved ones. And then others who hear about it, we hope that they also, find the courage. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot. I know when I asked what makes you most uncomfortable, only one person answered, and it was, I don't like to feel like sad or to cry, and I think that's what the healing part is, not avoiding, it's not, sadness, frustration, anger, jealousy, it's never, don't avoid it. Just learn how to navigate it and how to process it. And that way you won't fear it. Because when you
Yeah,
fear it, you know,
I actually came across an article that when people cry, it's actually a strength,
yes,
because it's
definitely.
giving yourself permission. Like, I don't know about you guys, but we can only handle so much emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, psychologically. And then there's that tipping point, like, I can't already, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so crying, it's actually a healthy way. It takes strength to cry, because it's your body's way of releasing, like, I cannot do this. This is too much for me. And then once you cry, that all that feeling, anxiety, and just this immense emotions, like, it's like a wave. Sometimes you go to the beach, sometimes there's waves, there's big waves, it's flat, right? Well, with your emotions and feelings, it's healthy, it's normal, it's your body talking to you. But when you allow your body to talk and it comes out in tears or whatever emotions or feelings, just let it ride through, you're fine. But it's when you're like, no, I'm not gonna
When
cry.
you hold it, but children are taught, don't cry, stop
Yeah,
crying. Right. And then if you're a boy, even more
man
so,
up.
right? It's like you do not cry because you're a man, and they're like 6 and they're taught don't cry because it's a weakness. But if we retrain, the future generation of adults that it, like you said, it is healthy to cry, I think we will have less mental illness, we'll have less
Mhm.
stress. Um, and when you come across a traumatic experience like loss, everyone will either lose a family member, break up in a relationship, lose a job, or encounter situations in the workplace, right, that damage your self-esteem. That's a
Mhm.
loss. You don't realize when someone is,
Yeah, there's
you
different
know,
forms of loss. And me and Karen use humor, because we can take things so seriously, me and Karen, that we're like crying. But I've taught Karen the art of crying and laughing. Okay, you cry because you're so frustrated, and then you start laughing because it was
she
silly.
has done that. I called her, I'm like, I just can't do this anymore, I'm going to quit parenting, the journey of parent coach and the journey of parenting, because I cannot do this and I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm going to resign from parenting. And then after, 5 days of not talking to a child or not talking to my husband, she's like, Karen, I'm like, no, no, I'm not doing it. And I guess my pride, yeah, if anyone is so prideful, I can relate. If you don't want to apologize, I can relate. I used to say, I will apologize when I'm wrong. And I think I only started apologizing in my early 30s. Then you realize you don't just apologize when you're wrong, right? You apologize if you hurt someone, but I'm
Whether
thinking,
it's
if I hurt you,
intention or not.
you're responsible for your own emotions.
Yes.
So if I allow you to have you feel hurt, then that's not on me. But
I
now I'm
mean,
learning.
guys, I mean, we're gonna all die. Nobody's gonna come out alive. And so I
Isn't
had
that
to, like,
comforting? She does that to
so
me. You're gonna die
are
anyway.
you
I'm
gonna
worried about my
die?
husband's health, but he's gonna die, I'm like,
Yeah, she's like,
okay.
okay, Thomas, I'm Team Thomas. She's like, don't eat this, don't eat that. I go, guy, let him live. Like, if he's gonna die, he's gonna die happy. Let him. I know, but what about us? I'm like, oh my gosh, what about him? You know what I mean? And we like being a parent, like, we love our kids, right? But there's times when we overwhelm them. We care so deeply, but we don't let them live life and make mistakes because maybe we didn't have that. And so I think that is the key thing that I'm not speaking at this event. I'm excited. I'm just the cheerleader for this event. And so Sarah's gonna be after Karen. And after Karen, I believe, who did I put after Karen? No, I mean after Sarah, I put Chelsea.
Mm.
Chelsea Cruz. So Chelsea's originally from Guam, but she lives in San Diego. Uh, she's incredible in that she tackles lived experiences. Like, she uses her platform to talk about social injustice. Her Instagram is social like Guam social progressor. And so she's anything that deals with society and social, like she talks about suicide. She has people share about being survivors of suicide, being suicide survivors. Uh, she just tackles everything that you would be like, whoa, those are controversial. Like she'll talk about it. And so she's coming on. Um, the great thing is I had her and Jazan. They both they're in their 30s, they're younger and stuff. But they look like my sister. My younger sister passed away, Kiala. The both of them, they have characteristics like real like fun loving, real passionate, funny. The way they dress, they remind me of my little sister. And so when I had them on the podcast, it made me emotional. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, they just have a special place in my heart. And so Chelsea has been doing an instrumental job on TikTok, on Instagram, and she uses Zoom. She just continuously creates between US and in California and Guam, because she comes from an island and it's a small community, but she creates her social media as a platform to help educate people. And so she's going to be part of the summit. After her, it's Michelle. She corrected me. I thought it was Michelle.
Ooh,
Michelle.
I love it.
She's originally from Oahu. She's also on the Big Island. She's the co-owner of a company called Big Island Maine. They basically it's about unifying small business owners, giving a voice to them. They created a platform to highlight businesses that are from the Big Island, and helping them to get the word out who they are. On their website, you're able to connect to these other small businesses and entrepreneurs that create on the Big Island. And so she's going to be talking about empowerment. She's a mom. She has 2 daughters, and she's also a social worker. And so she's gonna share a lot of like life experience and practicals about people learning how to like self-love and to be able to understand their self-worth. And so that's going to be amazing. So she's from the Big Island, Hawaii. And then after her, I have Jazan, Jazan exclusive. She's from the island of Oahu, I believe Eva Beach. I'm excited to have her. She's a rapper. She's a trailblazer when it comes to like the music industry. She does her own music production. She does her own songwriting, and she went to the Philippines, so she's Filipino descent. She created her own tour right before the pandemic hit. She just did a tour in the Philippines, and so she is a mastermind when it comes to going like me and Karen will go live. Okay, we're here on Facebook, we're here on Instagram. When she goes live with music, she's literally on 4 or 5 at the same time.
Oh my gosh, we gotta learn from her.
Yeah, so I love social media and I understand it, but she's on a different level. Like she's higher. And then she's also an educator. And so she's going to be sharing her music, and then she's going to share a lot about, how it impacts her. And because music is everything for her. Music is life. And I think, if you're someone who's artistic, it's great to meet someone like her to teach you how to use that to transfer whatever it is that you're going through. And then right after her closing it, from Australia, we have Sandy Davis.
Happy pause.
Yeah, so she's so spunky. So she's from the US, but now she lives in Australia. She's going to be talking about bullying. She's going to talk about how her brother passed away. He ended his life by suicide. And then she's going to talk about how her mom's celebration of life, which was held on the Big Island. And so
tell me about the fireworks. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you gotta come to the summit.
Yeah. to hear more about this.
She was on my podcast when she shared with me how her mom they celebrate her. Like I've never.
And
heard
didn't
that
you
in my
say,
life.
I want to do that? I'm going to immediately tell my family.
I know. I was like, that's a good one, and so she's going to be sharing about like how she dealt with loss, and then how she dealt with bullying, and yeah, that's the lineup. I'm excited. This is my first time ever doing a summit. I'm going to be doing one next year. Believe it or not, I already have some people lined up, and so next year I'm also going to do a grief and loss summit.
Ooh.
And so
That is
I'm honored. These women are powerful. What makes them powerful is they're authentic, they're genuine. They have a lot of compassion and empathy, and through their platforms, they empower people to believe that it's possible, to heal and to help other people just by being who you are. So yeah,
Thank
I'm
you
really
so
grateful.
much. Yeah, this is an amazing opportunity. I think a lot of us, especially since
it's free, guys.
It's free. Can you tell people how to sign up, since we only have a couple more days left before the big event?
Yes. So what we'll do is after Karen saves this, we'll put the Eventbrite link. So you're gonna register online through Eventbrite, and then you're gonna have to use Zoom. So if you guys don't have Zoom, you want to download the app on your computer and whatnot. If you guys are shy, because we're gonna record it, you don't have to show your face and stuff like that. If you work and say you already have plans for Saturday, because it's from 10 to 1, I'm gonna put up the schedule for the event shortly. You can still register, and then we'll send out the replay. So if you guys aren't able to attend, you guys can still register for it. But yeah, that is the best way. I'm gonna have Karen copy and paste the link to this interview, so that you guys will be able to just click the link and it'll drive you. So share it with your friends. It's free. We're gonna have 6 people from New York, Australia, California, and Hawaii. And it's going to be a great, inspiring time. We're talking about the white elephant. People know grief and loss, mental health, self-love. It's not something we casually talk about, but if we can normalize it, then we can all heal together. So thanks for this time. I love you. I'm
Thank
so grateful.
you. And we'll also be giving some freebies out. So register.
Yes.
I actually created something that will be sold on Amazon, but I'm going to give the Healing Summit participants first
dibs.
And I'm just so honored just to be in Deslynn's life. She has helped me just in more ways than one. Now I have like too many TikToks, I think. I think TikToks actually helped me with my healing journey with my mom. I didn't realize that when other people enjoyed, I didn't know if people were going to like, why is she doing this when her mom's on her deathbed? But I think it was healing. And now as I look back, it really brings joy to our family because we didn't realize that she was kind of trying to talk and smile when she was before, hospice happened. And I thought she really taught us, how to live life, how to laugh, even in the midst of the last days of her life. It's just amazing that you don't have to look at death as the end. It truly is. When I see, and it's part of the healing, right? It truly is a mindset. If you think forevermore, I will no longer see my mom, it's devastating. But if I know she will always be in my heart, and that's what makes me feel, I guess, that the healing journey is a little bit faster, because I think you helped me by sharing your healing journey. And if we can do this with others and just spread the word that it doesn't have to be something that you dread.
Yeah.
That's a very controversial thing. What do you mean don't dread the loss of your mother, or don't dread, loss? It truly is a mindset, because if you believe that the person, right, and I'm sure you feel your sister, and I think maybe that's why Giselle and Chelsea,
took me, honestly, guys, it took me like 16 years to process all of that, because I didn't want to tell people, oh, my sister died, because she was on an unexpected accident, I think for me to accept the truth of it took longer. But when my papa and my grandmother died, they went into hospice care. And so I had months with them, and I just made it the best time that I could with them. But it when you do lose people unexpectedly, when I went through grief support, that is truly the hardest to process, is when you lose someone unexpectedly. It's traumatic. When you start not being able to eat, like there's just certain signs, then definitely, go get help, whether it's a coach, whether it's talking to your pastor,
A support group.
therapist, a support group, whatnot. You want to isolate yourself, but in actuality, you need a lifeline. You know what I mean? And so Karen, we were talking about her mom way before mom went into hospice care. Like, she was already grieving. And I think that is something when we come to realize, like, if you start processing the pain ahead, then when the time comes, you've already begun the process. And that's truly a blessing. And stuff. So
and you know what? I'm still focusing on the funeral, so I know when the day comes and it's Black Friday,
then
it's
it'll
like,
be real.
It'll be real, and I'm preparing myself, but I'm also taking it one day at a time, because you know me, I'm planning, 35 years from now, I'm planning
So wait,
my 100th birthday party.
So I tell Karen, oh, this is my dream. I want to speak here. She goes, yeah, it's gonna happen. I'll be standing on the stage with you.
I'll be sitting next to you on the airplane. I'll be walking on stage with you. You'll be like, oh, Karen, this is a solo event. Not now.
We didn't tell Thomas that we're going, because Thomas probably gonna come with us. But Karen's like, no, it's okay, we can go.
Okay, it's like surprise guest.
She's like, sure. I'm like, okay.
And you won't even know. You won't even know, Deslynn. You'll be like, oh, I know Karen's gonna be like, right. No, I'm right there, not in the audience supporting you, right there. But thank you so much. I'm glad that we were able to pivot. Yeah, I had a little mini scare, and then I realized, you know what? Like Deslynn always says, did you die? I felt like I died, but we are navigating. It truly is just like life. You might plan a birthday party and then it rains,
Right.
or you plan a summit, which we did, we practiced, and then the internet decided to just not work for starting at 10. How would you even think of that happening?
Karen would think of that happening. I was like, stop.
What? But that's what I believe,
I'm like, Karen.
Yeah. Sure and enough. This is why I believe the fears will materialize. So I said, you know what? Oh my gosh, did I create that island-wide outage?
So the only reason why Karen thought of it is because I was on a workshop with Chelsea and Jazan, San Diego, where Chelsea lived, because Chelsea was supposed to be in charge of hosting the whole Zoom call. That area she lived in went shut down. Like, there's no Wi-Fi, nothing.
Just like what happened to me, though. What are the chances that Spectrum?
No, but Karen was manifesting it. I'm like, Karen,
I did manifest it. I'm like, you know what? And this is why you don't speak your fears out loud. What if there's an island outage? What if and then at 9:59, we were fine. As soon as I hit live, I'm like, what happened? At 10 o'clock? The universe is like, you're talking about it, I'll give it to you.
You know what? I bet you if I didn't tell her about my experience, because so what we did was Chelsea.
Oh, so it's actually your fault.
We couldn't even get a hold of Chelsea. Chelsea was literally off the grid. Okay, me and got creative, and we jumped onto Instagram Live. And then Chelsea, when she was finally able to, half an hour later, she jumped on the live with us, and she was apologizing, like, no, don't even, And so yeah.
Well, you know what happened with us? It's like the videos couldn't play, because then the Wi-Fi got kind of right.
So me and
glitchy on you, you, and then Mello, our other co-host, was on another part of Kauai, and for some reason, she was able to play videos. So in the end, it all worked out. Oh, I hear a little voice.
Let's see, she's gonna pop.
But anyway, thank you so much.
You want to say hi to Auntie?
Hello, Kailea. Where is she? Oh, that's my favorite. My favorite. Wait, 3-year-old?
Yes. Soon to be 4.
Oh my gosh, the preschool age. I'm going to work on the meditation. I've written stuff, but I haven't practiced. But you know what? I'm not going to panic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay, take care.
Pickleball.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Never
thank
played
you
that.
so much for having me, and I'm
Thank
really
you.
excited.
I know it was a
The
last
countdown.
minute. It was a last minute invitation. I thought, you know what? We have to do this. Any
3 more days, guys.
excuse, 3 more days. So I'm going to try to save this and I will post the Eventbrite link.
Okay. Bye,
Okay.
guys. Have a good day.
Okay, take
Aloha.
care. Bye.